We're going to take a look at the open-ended response portion of today's packet. So let's start with number one. One of the things that I want us to really to get in the habit of doing is reading every problem at least twice. So the first time I read it, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to mark it up yet. And then the second time, I'm going to go through and do my markups. And maybe I'll need to read it a third time, or maybe I'll just need to read parts of it more times. But we really want to get used to very, very carefully reading. The reason for that is because the mistakes that we are making as seventh graders is not about math. It's more about making sure that you have read everything correctly. So let's start. Last week, Rachel power walked 2 3/5 miles per day on each of the 7 days. During the same week, she also jogged 5 3/4 miles per day on 4 days. What is the total number of miles Rachel power walked and jogged last week? All right, I did my first run through. I feel like I'm ready now to go through and mark up. So last week, Rachel power walked 2 3/5, oops, that 2 3/5 miles per day on each of the 7 days. So we know that that's times 7 days. During the same week, she also jogged 5 3/4 miles per day on 4 days. So her jogging is times 4. What was the total number of miles Rachel power walked and jogged last week? And so that's important because I know that I'm going to be adding here. So here's my key information box. I know that she walked 2 3/5 miles 7 times. All right, so that's walking. I know that she jogged 5 3/4 miles 4 times, so that's her jogging. And I know that I'm going to need to add the walking plus the jogging. Okay, so I've kind of figured out the 3 steps that I'm going to need to take in order to properly solve this problem. So I'm going to do the walking in blue. All right, so she walked 2 3/5 miles times 7, okay? And I'm going to change this to an improper fraction, and then I'll put this over 1 so that I can multiply across. So 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3, so this is going to give me 13 over 5, which is equivalent to 2 3/5, times 7 over 1, okay? And then I'm going to do 13 times 7, because I'm going to multiply right across. And I get 91 over 5, okay? So now I want to change this 91 over 5. I'm going to do 91 divided by 5. Let's see. And so that's going to give me 18 1/5. So I have that she power walked 18 1/5 miles over this week, over 7 days. And so I kind of want to go in my head, does it make sense that if I did 2 3/5 times 7, that I would end up with 18 1/5? And so I'm going to go like, okay, yeah, so 2 times 7 is 14. And then when I add 3/5, it makes sense that I would have 7 times 3/5 get me up to 18 1/5. So my answer feels like it's passing the basic test so far of, does this even make sense? Let's do the same thing with jogging. Okay, so she jogged 5 3/4 times 4. I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 3. So I'm going to have 23 over 4 times 4 over 1. Okay, so I'll do 23 times 4, which is going to give me 92. and I'll do 92 over 4. That's going to be my unsimplified answer. And to turn that into a mixed number, I'll do 92. How many times will 4 go into 92? And it looks like 23 even. All right, so she jogged a total of 23 miles. Okay, does this pass the make sense test? And yeah, when I do 5 times 4, I get 20, and then you add 3/4 times 4, will that give me 3 more miles? Yeah, it's so far we're making sense. Now I need to take these two numbers and add them together. I need to take my 18 1/5 and add it to my 23 so I can get this part, the total number of miles that she walked and jogged. So I'm going to go 18 1/5 plus 23. All right, it should be kind of easy. I'm going to end up with 1/5, and then I'm going to do 18 plus 23. And that's going to give me 41 1/5 miles total of walking and jogging. And now I'm going to kind of run through. One thing that you guys see me do a lot is that I just like copy numbers down wrong. So I just want to make sure I didn't make any copying the number down error. So I have 2 3/5. I have 2 3/5. I have 2 3/5 times 7. Okay. And then I have my 5 3/4. Did I copy that down correctly? 5 3/4. 5 3/4. Yes, times 4. Okay, so I feel good about this answer. I can move on. These are like, you'll see here the numbers are out of order. So yes, number 3 is next. Okay. Roberts Reliable Flooring charges the following amounts per square foot of their premium flooring. Cecilia's new 2,000 square foot house will have 60% of its floors covered with hardwood flooring and 40% of its floors covered with carpet. Part A, how many square feet of carpet will Cecilia's house have? Part B, oh, there's 3 parts. Let's read them all. Cecilia hired Roberts to replace her hardwood flooring. How much will this cost? Part C, how much money would Cecilia save on flooring if she installed laminate instead of hardwood flooring? All right, so we'll come back to these. First, let's just go back and make sure we know what's going on at the beginning of this problem. So Roberts Reliable Flooring charges the following amounts per square foot of their premium flooring. So this is part of my key information box. And then I just want to add that all of these are per square foot. Okay. Cecilia's new 2,000 square foot house will have 60% of its floors covered with hardwood flooring, and 40% of its floors covered with carpet. How many square feet of carpet will Cecilia's house have? Okay, so for this problem, my key information box lets me know that I have 2,000 feet squared of flooring, okay? And I know that 40% of that is going to be carpet. So basically, I need to find 40% of this 2,000 in order to find out how many square feet of carpet Cecilia's house will have. So I'm going to do an OPN chart for part A. My original here is 2,000, and I want to find 40% of that to get my new. So I'm going to do my original times my percent is equal to the new, in this case, the carpet. So I'm going to go 2,000 times 0.4 for 40%. And let's see what that equals. I'm going to use my calculator, as should you. And so what I get is that 800 feet squared of carpet. All right, so Cecilia, she's covering 800 feet of her floor with carpet. Part B, how many square feet of carpet? I just want to make sure I've finished with part A. So, yep. And I'll put a little box here. Part B, Cecilia hired Roberts to replace her hardwood flooring. How much will this cost? Okay, so here I know that the hardwood floor from way up here, floor is covered with hardwood flooring, is 60% of her house. And because I just found 40%, I know that the hardwood flooring is going to be 1,200 feet. Okay. And I also know that, sorry. I also know that Roberts Reliable Flooring charges $7.75 per square foot. Okay, so the cost is $7.75 per square foot. And so this looks like Cecilia hires Roberts to place her flooring. How much will this cost? Simply, I just have to take this 1,200 feet and I want to multiply that by 775. And again, you have your calculator, use it. Okay, so to replace her hardwood floors, that's going to be $9,300. Okay. And yes, hardwood flooring is expensive. So let's take a look at part C, because maybe she says, boy, that's pretty pricey. How much money could we save? How much money would Cecilia save on flooring if she installed laminate instead of hardwood flooring? Okay, so we're still working here with 1,200 feet squared of flooring. Okay, now, oops, I forgot a zero there. So now instead of, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, guys. Instead of 775 per square foot, I'm looking at 150 per square foot. So I know the laminate flooring is 150 per foot squared, okay? So I'm gonna take that same 1,200, I'm gonna multiply that by 150. I'm gonna use my calculator again, 1,200 times 150, and that's gonna give me $1,800. All right, quite a big difference. But I'm looking for how much money would Cecilia save. So since I'm looking for how much she would save, I'm going to go 9,300, that's hardwood, minus the 1,800 that she would pay for laminate. Okay, so I go 9,300 minus 1,800. Okay, so she would save $7,500 if she went with a laminate flooring instead of a hardwood flooring. And of course, I just put here $75,000. So forgive me, let me erase that zero. She would save $7,500. Okay. So going back to the beginning of this problem, I had three parts. It looks like some of this got weirdly, oh, there it is. Okay, I had this piece of information and I had these three questions. And when I went through those questions piece by piece, when I did a key information box, It turns out there was nothing about this problem that was particularly difficult. The difficulty in this problem is how much you're asked to do with that information, how many tasks you need to complete. Okay, so this is one of those problems you'll probably see something like this on the state exam, and we just need to take a really tough look at it and say, hold on a second, let me break this down because you absolutely know the math, okay? So here we're going to stop our open-ended response practice. Thanks a lot.